Discipline your mouth, mood, money, and mind. You can't win a battle you keep fueling with your own words. The power of life and death is in the tongue, and too many of us are speaking death into our own future. You keep telling yourself, I can't, I'll never, I'm not enough, and then you wonder why you don't see breakthrough. Discipline your mouth. Speak only what builds, what heals, what moves you forward. Words are seeds, and every seed you plant will grow. So be intentional about what you allow to leave your lips. You can't speak defeat and expect victory. Discipline your mood. Life will test you. People will try you. Situations will provoke you. But hear this. The greatest strength is not how fast you can react. It's how well you can remain unshaken. Emotions are powerful, but they are terrible leaders. If you let your mood control you, you'll keep starting over because you burned bridges you were supposed to walk across. Control your atmosphere. Set your tone. Don't let storms outside create storms inside. Discipline your money. If you can't master how you manage it, it will master you. Stop buying to impress people who aren't even looking. Stop planting your resources into shallow soil and wondering why nothing is growing. Every dollar is a soldier, and you have to send your soldiers on missions that produce results. Invest in your future, not just your comfort. If you don't tell your money where to go, it will wander and vanish before you know it. Discipline your mind. Your life is moving in the direction of your most dominant thoughts. If you keep feeding your mind with fear, gossip, and doubt, don't be surprised when you live a life that reflects exactly that. Your mind is a battlefield, and you cannot afford to let just anything walk in uninvited. Train your thoughts to see possibility where others see problems. Refuse to dwell on failure. Instead, study the lesson and move forward. You can't control everything in life, but you can control your mouth, your mood, your money, and your mind. And when you master these, you position yourself to stand strong no matter what comes your way. Because discipline is the bridge between who you are now and who you are destined to be. Your mouth is one of the most powerful tools you possess, and yet it can also be one of the most dangerous weapons if left unchecked. The words you speak have the ability to shape atmospheres, build or destroy relationships, open doors or shut them forever. Many people underestimate the weight of their own voice, treating speech as something casual, something without consequence. But every word you release is a seed planted in the soil of life, and that seed will grow into something that will either bless you or burden you. Discipline over your mouth is not about speaking less for the sake of silence. It is about mastering the art of speaking life, truth, and purpose into every situation, no matter how challenging it may be. It is about holding back words that are rooted in anger, frustration, or bitterness, because once they escape, they cannot be taken back. You cannot unring the bell, and you cannot erase the sound of something spoken in haste. There is a power that comes from pausing before you speak, from considering the weight and impact of your words. When you discipline your mouth, you resist the urge to gossip, to tear others down, or to speak from a place of jealousy or resentment. You learn that not everything you feel needs to be verbalized, and not every opinion you have needs to be voiced. This is not suppression, it is wisdom. It is the ability to know when your words will add value and when they will only stir chaos. The disciplined mouth becomes a tool for connection, for encouragement, for clarity. It is intentional about tone, timing, and truth, understanding that how something is said can matter just as much as what is said. Your words can speak life into your own destiny. Every declaration you make about your life, whether conscious or unconscious, is programming your mind and spirit toward a certain reality. If you constantly speak defeat over yourself, saying things like, I can't, I'll never, I'm not good enough, you are reinforcing chains around your own progress. On the other hand, if you discipline your mouth to speak words of faith, confidence, and perseverance, you are setting the stage for your actions to align with those declarations. What you repeatedly say eventually becomes what you repeatedly believe, and what you believe ultimately becomes what you live. A disciplined mouth also protects relationships. So many bonds have been broken, not because of major betrayals, but because of careless words spoken in heated moments. Arguments can escalate beyond repair when the mouth is not under control. Once words laced with disrespect, shame, or mockery are spoken, They often leave wounds deeper than physical blows. Discipline teaches you to slow down, to breathe, and to measure your words before they exit your lips. It teaches you to prioritize connection over being right, and understanding over proving a point. It is not about winning an argument, but about guarding the bond you have with people who matter to you. The disciplined mouth is not easily provoked. It does not lash out in retaliation or feel the need to have the last word. It understands that silence can be more powerful than speech in certain situations, and that sometimes the greatest show of strength is to say nothing at all. When you master your mouth, you remove yourself from traps set by others who thrive on pulling you into verbal conflict. You choose peace over pettiness and purpose over pride. This doesn't mean you allow others to walk over you. It means you choose the timing and manner of your words so that they have maximum impact without compromising your integrity. Self-discipline in speech also extends to how you speak to yourself in private. The words you whisper in your thoughts, the names you call yourself when you make mistakes, and the inner commentary you allow to run unchecked can either empower or destroy you. Speaking life over yourself is not about arrogance. It is about alignment. It is aligning your self-image with the truth of your worth, your capability, and your potential. You might fail, but that doesn't make you a failure. You might struggle, but that doesn't make you weak. A disciplined mouth refuses to label itself according to temporary circumstances. When you begin to discipline your mouth, you also discipline your ears. You become more aware of the conversations you entertain, the environments you step into, and the voices you allow to influence you. You start filtering out negativity, gossip, and lies, because you understand that what enters your ears eventually shapes the words that leave your mouth. If you want your speech to change, you must be intentional about what you consume, whether that's in conversation, media, or even the company you keep. Your mouth is the overflow of your heart, and your heart is shaped by what you hear repeatedly. Speaking with discipline requires humility. It means admitting when you are wrong, apologizing sincerely, and using your words to heal instead of hide. It means confronting issues directly but with grace, refusing to let bitterness or offense guide your speech. It means being intentional about speaking truth, even when it is difficult, but doing so in a way that preserves dignity and encourages growth. A disciplined mouth knows how to say, "I'm sorry," and "I forgive you" without hesitation, because it values restoration over ego. The mouth can create opportunities. People are often remembered by the way they speak, whether their words uplift or discourage, whether they are known for kindness or cruelty. Opportunities can be gained or lost based on the ability to communicate with respect and confidence. A disciplined mouth learns to speak with authority without arrogance, to express conviction without condemnation, and to share ideas without diminishing others. It becomes a magnet for trust and collaboration because people know your words are intentional, thoughtful, and rooted in integrity. There will be moments when holding your tongue will feel like a battle, when the urge to respond quickly and harshly will be almost overwhelming. But discipline teaches you that a delayed response is often a wiser one, and that silence is not weakness, it's strength under control. The mouth that is disciplined becomes a reflection of the mind and heart that are disciplined, and together they create a life where words are not just sounds but instruments of impact. Your mood is like the weather of your soul, and just as sudden storms can disrupt an otherwise clear day, an undisciplined mood can shift the course of your decisions, relationships, and even your destiny. The challenge is that moods are often reactive. They respond to what's happening around you, the tone of someone's voice, the traffic you're stuck in, the unexpected news you receive. But living by the sway of your moods means surrendering control of your life to circumstances you cannot always predict or influence. Discipline over your mood is not about pretending to be happy all the time or ignoring pain. It is about developing an internal stability that remains grounded no matter what winds blow your way. It is choosing your response rather than being ruled by reaction. It is refusing to let temporary feelings dictate permanent outcomes. When your mood is undisciplined, small problems feel like mountains, and minor inconveniences spark unnecessary conflict. The day feels ruined because of a single disappointment. But when you discipline your mood, you learn to pause, breathe, and assess before allowing your emotions to spill into your words, actions, and decisions. You begin to recognize that feelings, while valid, are not always accurate indicators of truth. They are influenced by fatigue, stress, hunger, or unresolved wounds, and if you don't take a moment to examine them, they can lead you down roads you never intended to walk. A disciplined mood understands that just because you feel something deeply doesn't mean you must act on it immediately. Disciplining your mood means taking responsibility for the atmosphere you carry. You have the power to shift the energy of a room, either elevating it with calmness and encouragement, or bringing it down with irritation and negativity. When your mood is unstable, people around you feel like they have to walk on eggshells, unsure of which version of you they'll encounter. But when your mood is disciplined, you create safety for others because they know they can trust your consistency. You become someone who can be relied upon to remain composed under pressure. And that composure opens doors of influence and leadership. It's important to recognize that your mood does not exist in isolation. It's connected to your thoughts, your words, your body, and even your habits. An undisciplined mood can be fueled by an undisciplined mind, replaying negative scenarios, imagining worst-case outcomes, and holding on to offenses. It can also be influenced by physical neglect, lack of sleep, poor nutrition, and constant stress. Disciplining your mood often starts with caring for yourself holistically, ensuring your physical and mental well-being are supported so that you're not emotionally vulnerable to every challenge that comes your way. A disciplined mood also involves learning how to regulate emotions in real time. This means identifying your triggers, those situations, words, or people that tend to stir frustration, sadness, or anger, and developing strategies to handle them before they escalate. It might mean excusing yourself from a heated conversation until you've cooled down, or redirecting your thoughts toward gratitude in moments when irritation tries to take over. It might mean practicing deep breathing, journaling your emotions, or having a trusted person you can speak with before making a decision in an emotionally charged state. Regulation doesn't happen by accident. It's a deliberate practice that over time strengthens your ability to remain steady. When your mood is disciplined, you're able to see situations more clearly. Emotional turbulence can cloud your vision, making you interpret events through the lens of offense or fear rather than truth. By grounding yourself, you give your mind space to evaluate the facts, and your heart room to respond with grace. You begin to act out of intention rather than impulse, and that shift changes the trajectory of your life. Impulse-driven actions often lead to regret, but intention-driven actions are guided by purpose and clarity. The discipline of mood also means not allowing other people's emotional instability to dictate yours. It's easy to absorb the frustration, negativity, or anxiety of those around you, especially if you're naturally empathetic. But discipline means learning how to maintain your own emotional balance, even in environments charged with tension. It means showing up with a calm presence in the midst of chaos, becoming the anchor others can hold on to rather than another wave tossed by the storm. This requires boundaries, knowing when to engage and when to step back, when to speak and when to remain silent. Your mood has a ripple effect that goes beyond the moment you're in. A single bad mood can lead to careless decisions that cost relationships, opportunities, and even financial stability. Think of the times people have quit jobs in anger, said hurtful words they couldn't take back, or made impulsive choices simply because they felt a certain way in that moment. A disciplined mood acts as a safeguard against these kinds of self-sabotaging actions. It pauses long enough to ask, will I be glad I did this tomorrow? Will this action align with the person I want to become? That pause is where wisdom lives. This kind of discipline requires humility. You must be willing to admit when your mood is affecting your behavior negatively and make adjustments before damage is done. It means apologizing when your emotional state causes harm, and it means recognizing when you need to take a step back to recalibrate. The goal is not perfection, it is progress. Learning to recover more quickly, to self-correct with greater ease, and to grow more consistent over time. A disciplined mood doesn't mean you never feel anger, sadness, or frustration. Those emotions are part of being human. The difference is that they no longer control you. You can acknowledge them, process them, and respond from a place of strength rather than weakness. You learn to use emotions as signals rather than steering wheels, indicators that something needs attention, not dictators of your direction. And the truth is, your mood can be trained, just like muscles grow stronger with exercise. Your ability to maintain composure and positivity can grow with intentional practice. You train your mood by choosing gratitude daily, by setting your focus on what you can control instead of what you cannot, by surrounding yourself with people and environments that lift you higher. You train your mood by making the decision every single day that you will not surrender your peace to temporary storms. Your mind is the control center of your life, and every choice, every habit, every direction you take begins as a thought. If you do not discipline your mind, it will be shaped by whatever voices are the loudest, whatever images you consume, and whatever lies you've allowed to take root over time. A disciplined mind does not simply happen. It is built intentionally, guarded like a fortress, and directed toward truth and purpose, rather than chaos and distraction. Without that discipline, the mind becomes like an unguarded city, open to attacks from fear, doubt, and negativity, allowing those invaders to influence your beliefs, which ultimately shape your behavior and destiny. Disciplining your mind begins with awareness. Many people live their entire lives without realizing that not every thought they think deserves their attention. Thoughts come from many sources: past experiences, cultural influences, personal fears, spiritual convictions, and even the environment you're in at a given moment. But just because a thought enters your mind doesn't mean it's true, and it certainly doesn't mean it has to stay. Discipline allows you to identify the difference between thoughts that align with your values and purpose and thoughts that distract, discourage, or destroy. This is where intentional thinking becomes powerful, choosing what you dwell on, rather than passively absorbing whatever shows up. Your mind has patterns, and those patterns create momentum in your life. If you repeatedly dwell on what could go wrong, your mind becomes trained to expect the worst, which makes you hesitant, fearful, and easily discouraged. If you consistently feed your mind with ideas of possibility, hope, and growth, it begins to see opportunities where others see problems. Discipline is the ability to interrupt unhealthy thought patterns and replace them with ones that move you forward. This doesn't mean ignoring reality. It means refusing to let fear, bitterness, or cynicism become the lens through which you see everything. One of the greatest challenges to disciplining the mind is the noise of the world. Social media, news cycles, constant notifications, all of it competes for your attention, shaping your thoughts without you even realizing it. A disciplined mind practices selective exposure, intentionally choosing what to consume and what to reject. This might mean limiting time spent on platforms that fuel comparison, unsubscribing from voices that promote fear or anger, and replacing those influences with content that strengthens your values and vision. What you feed your mind becomes the fuel for your actions, and without discipline, you may be unknowingly feeding it poison while wondering why you feel stagnant or hopeless. Another key to disciplining your mind is learning the art of focus. In a world designed to pull your attention in 1,000 directions, focus becomes a superpower. A disciplined mind knows how to stay present in the moment, fully engaging with the task at hand rather than jumping between distractions. Focus allows you to work deeply, think clearly, and connect meaningfully. It's the difference between scattering your energy on dozens of things and channeling it toward what truly matters. Focus is not something you stumble into. It's cultivated by eliminating unnecessary mental clutter, setting boundaries around your time, and practicing the skill of saying no to good things so you can say yes to the best things. Your mind also requires discipline in the area of self-talk. The way you speak to yourself determines how you show up in the world. If your inner dialogue is filled with criticism, shame, or defeat, you'll approach life with insecurity and fear. If your inner dialogue is grounded in truth, encouragement, and clarity, you'll step into situations with confidence and courage. Self-talk is not about empty affirmations. It's about aligning your words with reality and possibility. A disciplined mind challenges lies with truth, replaces discouragement with hope, and refuses to allow temporary setbacks to define permanent identity. Mental discipline also means becoming intentional about the company your mind keeps. The people you surround yourself with influence your thoughts more than you realize. If you are constantly around those who complain, gossip, or dwell on the negative, your own thinking will slowly reflect the same patterns. If you surround yourself with people who challenge you to grow, inspire you with their vision, and model resilience, your mind will adapt to a higher standard. Discipline means guarding your mental environment with as much care as you would guard your home. You wouldn't let a thief walk into your living room and take whatever they wanted, so why allow toxic influences free access to your mind? Another layer of mental discipline is the ability to hold two truths at once. To acknowledge the difficulty of a situation while still believing in the possibility of a better outcome. This is where resilience is born. A mind that can only see hardship will quickly sink into hopelessness, while a mind that can only see positivity without acknowledging reality will be unprepared for challenges. Discipline creates balance. It allows you to prepare for obstacles without surrendering to them, to feel the weight of a problem without being crushed by it, to acknowledge fear without letting it lead. Training your mind is not a one-time event, it's a daily practice. Just as an athlete conditions their body through consistent exercise, you condition your mind through repeated habits. This may involve reading books that expand your thinking, meditating to clear your focus, journaling to process your thoughts, or memorizing truths that anchor you in difficult times. The key is consistency. A single moment of inspiration can spark change, but only disciplined repetition turns that spark into a lasting fire. The mind also requires rest. Discipline isn't just about pushing harder. It's about knowing when to step back so you can return stronger. An overworked, overwhelmed mind will struggle to think clearly and make wise decisions. Rest allows your mind to reset, to process, and to create space for new ideas. This is why moments of silence, solitude, and reflection are essential to mental discipline. They're not a waste of time, they're an investment in clarity and stability. Ultimately, a disciplined mind is one that serves you rather than sabotages you. It is a mind that knows its purpose, chooses its focus, and guards its peace. It does not wander aimlessly, get tossed by every opinion, or collapse under the weight of fear. Instead, it moves with intention, fueled by clarity and grounded in values that are stronger than temporary emotions. When your mind is disciplined, your life follows suit, because every outward action is the fruit of an inward thought. By mastering your inner world, you gain the ability to navigate the outer world with wisdom, courage, and consistency. Money is a tool, and like any tool, its impact depends on how it's handled. Without discipline, money can become a source of stress, division, and even destruction. With discipline, it becomes a resource for stability, growth, and impact. Managing money well is not about having vast amounts of it. It's about stewarding whatever you have with intentionality and wisdom. Many people think that more money will solve their problems, but if you don't discipline how you handle a little, more will simply magnify the lack of control. Money reveals habits, priorities, and character. It is not just about transactions, but about the mindset behind them. Disciplining your money begins with clarity. You cannot control what you do not track. Too many people live without knowing where their money actually goes each month, and that ignorance leads to waste, debt, and financial pressure. The first step to discipline is to be brutally honest with yourself about your spending, your income, and your obligations. Every dollar should have a purpose before you spend it. Without a clear plan, your money will always find a way to slip through your fingers, often on things you can barely remember buying. Clarity gives you power, because when you know where your money goes, you can redirect it toward what actually matters. A disciplined approach to money also means learning the difference between needs, wants, and impulses. Needs are essential for survival and well-being. Things like shelter, food, transportation, and basic health care. Wants are the extras that add comfort, convenience, or enjoyment, and there's nothing wrong with them when they're in balance. Impulses, however, are unplanned and often unnecessary purchases driven by emotions rather than logic. Marketing and culture thrive on feeding your impulses, convincing you that you need something right now to be happy or accepted. Discipline allows you to pause before spending, to ask yourself if this aligns with your priorities, and to avoid the trap of trading long-term stability for short-term gratification. Living within your means is one of the foundational principles of financial discipline. It's tempting to match or exceed the lifestyle of those around you, especially in a culture where debt is normalized and instant gratification is marketed as self-care. But living beyond your means is essentially borrowing from your future to pay for your present desires. This creates a cycle of stress and limitation, where your energy and resources are spent paying for yesterday's decisions rather than building tomorrow's opportunities. Discipline teaches you that contentment is not about how much you have, but about how well you use what you have. Saving is another pillar of disciplined money management. Many people see saving as what's left over after spending, but discipline flips that thinking. Saving should happen first, before anything else. This is called paying yourself first. Even if the amount is small, consistent saving builds not only financial security but also the habit of prioritizing the future over immediate wants. Savings become your safety net in emergencies, your opportunity fund for investments, and your path to freedom from financial stress. Without it, every unexpected expense becomes a crisis. Debt is one of the greatest obstacles to financial freedom, and disciplining your money means being intentional about how you use it. Not all debt is inherently bad. Borrowing to invest in something that produces more value, like education or a business, can be strategic. But consumer debt, fueled by unnecessary spending, is a silent thief of wealth. Interest compounds against you, turning small purchases into long-term burdens. Discipline in this area requires patience, learning to delay gratification, and refusing to use credit as a substitute for planning. It also means aggressively paying down existing debt to free yourself from the constant drain on your resources. Generosity is a surprising but vital part of disciplining money. It might seem counterintuitive to give when the focus is on controlling and managing, but generosity breaks the power that money can have over your heart. When you give to others, whether to help those in need, support causes you believe in, or invest in your community, you remind yourself that money is a servant, not a master. Generosity also shifts your perspective from scarcity to abundance, helping you see that you have enough to share and still thrive. Discipline in giving means it's not random or leftover, but intentional and planned, built into your financial habits just like saving and investing. Investing is the way disciplined money grows. Keeping your money in a savings account alone is safe, but limited. As inflation slowly erodes its value, investing allows your money to work for you, multiplying over time through the power of compounding. Discipline in investing means learning before leaping, understanding your risk tolerance, diversifying your portfolio, and making decisions based on long-term vision rather than short-term hype. It's resisting the temptation to chase trends or panic when markets fluctuate. True wealth is built slowly and steadily, not through gambling disguised as investment. Another layer of money discipline is aligning your spending with your values. Every purchase is a reflection of what matters to you. If you say you value health but spend more on fast food than fresh groceries, your money is revealing a gap between your words and your priorities. If you say you value family but your spending habits keep you working excessive hours to pay off luxuries, there's a disconnect. Discipline bridges that gap, ensuring that your financial habits support the life you want to live rather than sabotage it. Tracking progress is essential in keeping financial discipline alive. Without regular review, it's easy to drift back into old habits. Setting financial goals, whether paying off debt, saving for a home, or building an investment portfolio, gives you a target to aim for. Discipline is sustained when you can see tangible results. Even if they are small, those results create momentum, reinforcing your commitment to making wise choices. Just as a disciplined athlete measures performance to improve, a disciplined person with money measures their finances to grow. Perhaps one of the most overlooked aspects of disciplining your money is protecting your mind from comparison. Comparison is one of the fastest ways to sabotage financial discipline. When you measure your life against someone else's highlight reel, you start making choices to match an image rather than serve your reality. This can lead to overspending, unnecessary debt, and constant dissatisfaction. Discipline frees you from that trap by keeping your focus on your own goals, your own values, and your own progress, regardless of what anyone else is doing. Ultimately, money is a reflection of how well you manage yourself. If you are impulsive, it will show in your spending. If you are intentional, it will show in your growth. Discipline with money is not about being rigid or joyless. It's about being wise enough to control it, so it doesn't control you. It's about using it to create a life of stability, freedom, and impact, rather than being a slave to bills, debt, and fleeting pleasures. Money, when disciplined, becomes a resource that empowers your dreams, strengthens your resilience, and allows you to leave a lasting legacy. The mind is the command center of your life, and disciplining it is one of the most important things you can ever do. Every decision, every action, every word, and every habit begins as a thought. What you think about consistently shapes how you feel, how you act, and ultimately the kind of life you live. If your mind is undisciplined, it will wander into worry, fear, doubt, and negativity without any effort. If your mind is disciplined, it becomes a powerful tool that works for you instead of against you. This is why guarding and training your mind is not optional. It's the foundation of self-control in every other area of life. Disciplining your mind starts with awareness. Most people are unaware of the constant stream of thoughts running through their head, yet those thoughts are influencing their mood, their decisions, and even their physical health. You can't change what you're not aware of. So the first step is to begin noticing what you think about on a daily basis. Are your thoughts filled with hope or with worry? Are they focused on problems or on solutions? Are they building your confidence or tearing it down? This awareness is like turning on a light in a dark room. It reveals what's been shaping your life without your conscious permission. Once you are aware, you must take responsibility for your thoughts. It's easy to believe that you have no control over what pops into your mind. But while you can't always stop a thought from arriving, you can choose whether it stays. This is where mental discipline comes in, rejecting thoughts that are harmful, untrue, or unproductive, and replacing them with ones that align with your values and goals. If you repeatedly allow negative, self-defeating, or anxious thoughts to live rent-free in your mind, they will eventually dictate your behavior. On the other hand, if you consistently feed your mind with truth, positivity, and wisdom, your actions will naturally follow. A disciplined mind understands the importance of focus. In today's world, distractions are everywhere. Notifications, entertainment, social media, news updates, each one pulling for your attention. Without discipline, your mind becomes scattered, jumping from one thing to another without ever going deep enough to produce real results. Focus requires saying no to the unnecessary so you can give your best energy to what truly matters. It's about training your brain to stay present, to work through discomfort without escaping to the next shiny distraction, and to give full attention to the task at hand. The more you practice focus, the stronger your mental endurance becomes. Guarding what you feed your mind is also a critical part of discipline. Just as the body is shaped by what you eat, the mind is shaped by what you consume. Books, conversations, music, social media, and entertainment. If you constantly feed your mind with negativity, gossip, fear-driven news, or toxic opinions, it will eventually poison your perspective. Discipline means being intentional about your mental diet, choosing to fill your mind with content that inspires, educates, challenges, and strengthens you. This doesn't mean living in a bubble, but it does mean filtering what you allow to influence you. Mental discipline also involves mastering your internal dialogue. The words you speak to yourself in your head carry enormous power. If your self-talk is filled with criticism, doubt, and defeat, you will live in a state of insecurity and hesitation. But if you train yourself to speak words of encouragement, faith, and truth, you will cultivate inner strength and resilience. This doesn't mean lying to yourself or pretending challenges don't exist. It means choosing to speak to yourself in a way that empowers you to face those challenges with confidence instead of fear. Another aspect of disciplining the mind is learning to manage emotions through thinking. Emotions are powerful, and they are often triggered by thoughts. An undisciplined mind reacts impulsively to emotions, but a disciplined mind knows how to pause, reflect, and respond intentionally. For example, when anger arises, an undisciplined mind might immediately lash out, while a disciplined mind takes a step back to evaluate what's really happening and chooses the best response. This kind of self-control comes from training your mind to pause before reacting, to see the bigger picture and to make choices that align with long-term goals rather than short-term feelings. Visualization is a powerful tool in mental discipline. Your brain tends to move toward what it repeatedly pictures, so training your mind to visualize success, growth, and the life you want to live can shape your actions toward making it a reality. This is not about daydreaming without effort. It's about creating a mental blueprint that guides your behavior. Athletes use visualization to improve performance. Leaders use it to envision strategy, and individuals use it to mentally rehearse overcoming challenges. A disciplined mind uses visualization not as an escape from reality, but as a tool to shape it. Problem solving is another skill strengthened by mental discipline. An undisciplined mind gets stuck in the problem, repeating it over and over without moving forward. A disciplined mind acknowledges the problem, but quickly shifts to finding solutions. This requires curiosity, creativity, and a refusal to let fear or frustration dominate. It's about asking the right questions, seeking new perspectives, and maintaining the belief that there is a way forward, even if it's not obvious yet. The more you train your mind to solve problems instead of dwelling on them, the more resourceful and confident you become. Resisting mental laziness is also part of discipline. It's easy to let your mind take the path of least resistance, to avoid challenges or to seek constant comfort, but growth requires stretching your mental capacity, tackling difficult tasks, and pushing past the initial discomfort of learning something new. A disciplined mind understands that just as muscles grow stronger with resistance, mental strength grows when you challenge it. This might mean studying topics that are hard to grasp, having difficult but necessary conversations, or developing skills that require patience and practice. Finally, disciplining your mind means protecting it from becoming a prisoner of the past or a hostage to the future. Regret, guilt, and bitterness can keep your mind trapped in what has already happened, while worry and fear can paralyze you with what might happen. Discipline keeps you anchored in the present moment, dealing with what's in front of you today while still preparing for tomorrow. It's about learning from the past without living in it, and planning for the future without fearing it. This ability to stay mentally present is one of the greatest freedoms you can give yourself. Self-discipline is the thread that ties together every other area of growth, because without it, good intentions never turn into consistent actions. It is the quiet strength that keeps you moving forward when your feelings tell you to quit. It is what makes you show up when no one is watching, do the work when no one is clapping, and make sacrifices when no one understands. Many people wait for motivation to strike before they act, but motivation is fleeting. Discipline is what carries you through the days when you feel unmotivated, uninspired, or even discouraged. It is the ability to choose long-term reward over short-term comfort, to follow through on commitments to yourself, and to keep showing up even when results aren't immediate. Self-discipline is not about perfection. It is about persistence. Too many people give up because they slip up once or twice, believing they have failed completely. But discipline is not the absence of mistakes. It is the refusal to let mistakes become habits. When you fall short, discipline is what gets you back on track without wallowing in guilt or shame. It is the voice inside that says, yes, you stumbled, but you are not stopping. This mindset is critical because real growth is built over time, through thousands of small, consistent decisions that compound into something extraordinary. Discipline begins with clarity of purpose. Without a clear reason why you're doing something, it becomes too easy to abandon it when it gets hard. Your why fuels your discipline, reminding you that the sacrifice is worth it. If you want to discipline your health, you need a vision of the energy, strength, and vitality you want to have. If you want to discipline your finances, you need a vision of the freedom and security you're building. Without a compelling vision, discipline feels like deprivation. With a compelling vision, discipline feels like investment. One of the greatest enemies of discipline is the need for instant gratification. We live in a world that offers quick rewards at the tap of a finger, from fast food to instant entertainment to online shopping. While these can bring momentary pleasure, they can also train the mind to expect immediate payoff for minimal effort. Discipline, on the other hand, teaches you to delay gratification, to endure discomfort now for the sake of something greater later. This is not natural. It must be developed through intentional practice, choosing to save instead of spend, to study instead of scroll, to exercise instead of stay in bed. all strengthen your ability to say no to what you want now in order to say yes to what you want most. Discipline thrives in structure. It's not just about willpower. It's about creating an environment that supports your goals and removes unnecessary temptations. This means planning your days instead of drifting through them, setting boundaries on your time, and putting systems in place that make good decisions easier to follow. For example, if you want to eat healthier, keep your kitchen stocked with nutritious foods and remove unhealthy options from easy reach. If you want to read more, place books where you can see them and schedule reading time into your day. The more you reduce the friction between intention and action, the more consistently discipline will show up in your life. A disciplined life also requires learning to manage your energy, not just your time. You can have the most detailed plan in the world, but if you are constantly exhausted, stressed, and running on fumes, discipline will feel impossible. This is why rest, recovery, and self-care are not luxuries. They are strategic investments in your ability to follow through. A well-rested, mentally clear, and emotionally balanced person will always outperform a burned-out one in the long run. Discipline is not about grinding yourself into the ground. It's about creating sustainable habits that you can maintain for years, not just weeks. Accountability is another powerful tool for discipline. While self-discipline is ultimately an internal decision, having external accountability can significantly boost consistency. This could mean having a workout partner, joining a group with shared goals, or even publicly committing to a challenge. When you know someone else is counting on you or will ask about your progress, you're more likely to follow through. Accountability creates both encouragement and healthy pressure, helping you push past moments of weakness. It's also important to understand that discipline is not rigid. It's adaptable. Life will throw curveballs and plans will be disrupted. Discipline is not about blindly following a routine, no matter what. It's about maintaining commitment while adjusting methods when circumstances change. A disciplined person can adapt without abandoning their goals entirely. If you miss a morning workout, you reschedule it for later. If you go over your budget 1 month, you adjust your spending the next. Flexibility ensures that discipline can survive the unpredictable nature of life. Self-discipline also teaches you to embrace the process, not just the outcome. Many people quit because results don't come quickly enough, but discipline focuses on the habit, not just the finish line. If you commit to writing every day, you become a writer even before you publish a book. If you commit to practicing gratitude daily, you cultivate a positive mindset even before your circumstances change. Discipline creates identity shifts. The more you act in alignment with your goals, the more you see yourself as the kind of person who lives that way. And this identity fuels even greater consistency. The truth is, discipline often feels boring in the moment. It's not always exciting to stick to a budget, follow a workout plan, or study instead of being entertained, but discipline frees you from the chaos of an undisciplined life, a life full of regret, missed opportunities, and constant crisis management. When you discipline yourself, you exchange temporary comfort for lasting peace. You build a life where you don't have to constantly repair the damage from impulsive decisions because you've been making wise ones all along. And while discipline can sometimes feel lonely, especially when those around you are taking shortcuts or living without boundaries, it will eventually draw the right people toward you. Discipline attracts respect. It signals to others that you are serious about your life, that you can be trusted, and that you are capable of following through. People notice when you consistently keep your word, when you show up on time, and when you pursue excellence even when no one is watching. This respect often opens doors that talent alone cannot. You see, discipline isn't punishment. It's protection. It's the guardrail that keeps your life from veering off into places you never intended to go. It's the difference between living on purpose and living by accident. Your future will not be built on feelings. It will be built on the decisions you make when no one is clapping, when no one is watching, and when quitting would be easier. Every day, life will give you an invitation to cut corners, to settle for less, to follow the crowd. But if you want something different, you must be willing to do something different. Control your mouth, control your mood, control your mind, and you will control your future. So I leave you with this. Don't wait for the perfect time. Don't wait for the right mood. Decide today who you want to be, and then be that person every single day. Especially when it's hard, Because one day you will look back at the road you've walked and you will realize that discipline didn't just change your habits, it changed your destiny.